Right, hello guys, good evening, good afternoon, usual stuff. I'm Mr. Fox. That's Rob. Hiya Rob.
Yeah, Foxy.
It's delayed reaction again, well that's because we're in his shed. He's quite a big shed, as we mentioned the other day, another great backdrop that he's knocked up there. I honestly don't think he's getting enough credit for these backdrops, but man of many skills, so just see if you can make out some of the noises, because we're kind of making this out to be a town backdrop, so you might hear a couple of Greg's bags getting rustled on the way past, but great sound effects again, Roberto. So, enough of the nonsense. We've got Bristol City coming up tomorrow, as we all know. So, I don't know how everybody's feeling, but we kind of seem to be having this conversation every week where it's another performance gone, another result where we've just missed out again. I'm not going to get bogged down on Sheffield United because that actually isn't my remit anymore, so which I'm glad about, because I'm getting a little bit too critical of them and a bit too negative, and it's starting to frustrate me, but we all know why. So Sheffield United, we blew that one out the water. Bristol City, so here we go again. We're still kind of in the mix there somehow. I don't know how. Bristol City, so what do we expect from Bristol City? Previously to the game they've just played, which was Birmingham, they hadn't had a shot on target in 2 games. I think Millwall beat them at home 2-0. But they hadn't had a shot on target, like I say. They have been up and down really this season. They've got off to an absolute blinder. First half of the season, first 4 months, as you'll remember, they beat quite a few Premiership teams, around about 4 Premiership teams in the cup competitions. They look really good. Now in the last 4 months of the season, since Christmas, I think they've picked up 15 points from 51. I think they've won 4 games in total. And as I've just mentioned, they haven't had any shots on target in the last two games apart from Birmingham, which is the one just gone. Millwall, like I say, they're everywhere at the moment, Millwall. They play Sheffield United on Saturday. So Millwall are having a big hand in everybody's season at the moment. Obviously they've got us to play. But so they're kind of looking as if they should have been out of this. The form that they've been on this sort of last 4 months has been pretty much relegation form. Now, this was a team that was touted to be relegation favourites at the start of the season. And so based on that kind of theory, they've outdone what they expected, what fans expected. But when I kind of look into this and speak to fans and look a bit more depth at Bristol City's season, they feel a little bit like Sheffield United do, where they've overachieved, but they kind of haven't had the backing that they probably should have had. Now, in January, they've also suffered from a lot of injuries, and also from what I can see is they've made a lot of changes. He hasn't settled on a sort of starting 11, a consistent starting 11 that much, Lee Johnson. And Lee Johnson's a manager that I rate. I talk about him every week. But within Bristol, a lot of fans are frustrated with him because he kind of changes, chopping and changes a lot. They're a team that on their day when they turn up, they're a brilliant footballing team when they turn up. They're a really, really frightening team when they turn up. But they haven't turned up enough, as I've just said, in the last 4 months. So, all that being said, they have had relegation form, but yet, like we are, they're still in the mix. So I think they're 2 points off us. I think they're in 8th. Very similar goal difference to us also, which explains, again, you just from those stats there, tells you that they've had a very similar season to us. Consistency is key in this league, as we've seen with Fulham, with Millwall, especially with Millwall. But they're a team that can definitely do something. Now, I think this game set up on Saturday is it's another cup final, as we know, but it's a game whereby they've just given themselves a bit of confidence beating Birmingham 3-1. They've just kind of put themselves back in the marketplace of being in the promotion hunt. The team that he played against Birmingham, he bought Jurgic had just come back off injury, and I think Diadu had played as well, or Diadu, if I pronounced that right. But up until that point, they've been playing Bobby Reid up front. Now, Bobby Reid's a player that I probably don't need to tell you guys about. Really, really promising up-and-coming young English player, plays on the left, he's played a lot in midfield, he's played a lot up front this season, but it's been his debut season, he's got 20 goals in all competitions, and Lee Johnson, from what I've seen, his only criticism of him, he's saying he's not selfish enough, which shows where the kind of player he is. He's a really good team player, but Lee Johnson feels as if he could have had another 10-15 goals this season. But, you know, like I say, I'm not going to get bogged down on one player, but he's had a great season for them. So, whether he'll start up front or not, I don't know. Against Birmingham, he played him on the left. I think Brownhill played on the other side. Patterson's also a player that I like the look of, who plays left-sided. But with Bobby Reid back in that position, he probably might not start him. They've got a good solid base at the back. Nathan Baker, who's signed from Aston Villa at the start of the season. But, like I was saying there, at Christmas time when it all started to go a little bit pear-shaped, they had a lot of injuries, but from what I can gather is the injuries hadn't, in a crazy type of way, hadn't really affected the squad too much, because they had a lot of other players that kind of were on the peripheral of wanting to get in and looking half decent. So he's kind of changed it around a lot. A lot of players have played have had a lot of game time. But in January they brought in a few players. I think they brought in Kent. They brought in, is it Walsh, I think, from Everton? I might be wrong there, but yeah, a couple of kidders. Kent was their only proper signing. Sorry, Walsh was their only signing. Kent's permanent. Kent and a guy called Dione, I think, who's from a French League One team. It might be Nice or somewhere like that. It might be Lyon. I might not be correct with that because I'm just trying to think about it off the top of my head. But these are players that they brought in the window who haven't really done anything. And from what I can gather also is Bristol City fans are saying that, you know, the signings that we made in January have actually added to the problems with our team. They haven't actually helped it in a crazy type of way. Now, we all know, Boro fans, about signings in January, not getting enough signings in January, the squad getting trimmed down, players going that we probably thought should have stayed in. But what we have got over a lot of other teams in our position is a consistent 11 to a point, or a squad that's pretty small, so we have to have a consistent 11. Whether we think that's a good thing or not, guys, get in touch. I don't personally. But so Bristol City have kind of got the opposite end of that, but they're in a similar position to us. Just shows how crazy this league is. So there's players in that team, as I've mentioned, like Bobby Reid, Patterson, Brownhill, Jurgic, if he plays, like I say, who's come back from injury, Diadu, like I mentioned. Players that can do stuff, score goals. They've got a lot of goals from all around the team. They spread it out quite a little bit. They have assists from all over. Not an aggressive team. They have a lot of shots per game. Similar sort of shot ratio to Wolves. And I use Wolves because they're the benchmark. 13, 14 shots per game. But this is a game for me that I just think it's got draw written all over it. I think they're probably going to have a little bit more confidence, and I think that they're going to come to the Riverside and they're going to want to put a performance together. What we're hearing actually about Boro tomorrow is that there may not be any down in Besic or Bamford. They've all got late fitness checks. Now, if we take Bamford out of that equation, and Besic especially, and I mean, I have been overcritical with Downing to a point, but it's because I expect more from him. But he is a link man, and he does get involved, and he does paper the cracks over a little bit and do a lot of the dirty work, even though that's not his roles and responsibilities. He's an attacking player for me, and I'll always see him as an attacking player. But maybe he's not used to that full effect in our squad. We take those three people out of our team, and I guess, what have we got? Who are we going to bring in? You know, I don't see much happening there with the players that we're going to bring in. So we're already on the back foot if that happens, which just kind of paints it even more into being a draw for me. The one thing that I would say about this Bristol City team is, if they turn up in the poor, they'll be really poor. They struggle to hold on to leads. Once we have a lead, we don't let go of it. Once we go 1-0 up, as has been proven with the stats this season, we're hard to beat. Bristol City, they struggle to hold on to a lead, but they're good at coming back from a lead. So that tells you again that it's got draw written all over it. But for me, personally, I'm going to try and be optimistic. I know I've said 1-1, but I'm going to try and be positive because we've only got 4 big games left to go. Rob, what do you think?
2-0 Boro, mate. I think that's heart over head goal. 2-0
Boro. I think this is the first week in a long time Rob's going to get this prediction wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it is 2-0 Boro, but like I say, it's got draw written all over it. We're both in similar form. We were appalling in the week, first half. Second half was a bit of an improvement. Fabio came on and looked half decent. Played him out wide though. Why couldn't you have done that with Christie instead of getting rid of Christie? I'll never understand that. So 2-0 Boro. 1-1 for me, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's 5-0 Boro, and I hope Bristol City don't turn up. Like I say, everybody plays everybody. Coming up, Sheffield United have got Millwall on Saturday. Obviously then we play Derby, then we've got Millwall. So again, we could get beaten up at Bristol City and somehow it could still be in our hands, but there you go, we don't want that to happen. So look, this has been the preview show. I'm Foxy. Thank you guys for tuning in. One other thing that I need to just put your ways, we've got a competition for 2 season tickets. If you want to get involved in this and you want to be part of it, you need to like, share and subscribe us on Twitter, YouTube, especially in Facebook if you want. But you need to be one of our followers, guys, so get involved. But thank you as ever for tuning in. I've been the Fox. Peace out wherever you are. It's in the blood, Boro fans.